And that spark is always going to be there in that electromagnetic. Now look at their relationship. In their relationship, that electromagnetic is mental. It's in the channel 63.4. It's his questions and her answers. Now the reason that electromagnetics become volatile is that instead of accepting that it's his questions and her answer, she wants to do the questioning and he wants to do the answering. This is what happens in the electromagnetic. You always try to take on your partner's role. And this is where the heat comes. The love is when you accept that you're meeting what you're designed to meet at the other end. Let them be that. But of course we can't. And we fall for the conditioning because the conditioning is what we want. So if we're a 37, we play the 40. Back off. I don't want to hug you now. And the love gets turned around. And the 40 that was so cool and saying, I don't need that now, is now going, please, please. And you can see how the basic dynamic gets turned around and it can look very not pretty. You know, when it gets turned around in the other direction, it's like, ooh, I don't want that. Again, entering in as yourself, staying as yourself, knowing what you're not. You know, the electromagnetic is an ideal for us. Yet it's an ideal that has an obvious limitation. Obvious limitation. On the other side of that channel from your gate, you can have any number of 13 objects activating it in any number of combinations, in any one of 6 lines and combination of those lines. In other words, when you're looking across that channel and you meet somebody who brings the other end, that just means that you've got a variation on a huge theme. It's a variation. You know, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that sampling on the other side. And of course, you need to explore that other side. But don't be fooled in thinking that that's the only other side. It isn't. You know, and just because you're a 40 and you have a terrible experience with a 37 doesn't mean you're going to have a terrible experience with all 37s as an electromagnetic. It just means there are variations that are going to be difficult. And as we'll see when we go deeper, that the variations are going to be connected to whether there's resonance and harmony in the way we meet our partner. Think about it this way. Think about a compromise. Right? Now imagine that the person that has the whole channel, it's got the 5 at one end and it's got the 3 at the other. And imagine you come into that and you've got the end where that person has the 5 and you have the 3. In other words, you have the 3 to match your partner's 3 at the other end, but you have